All right, guys, we've got everything installed and working perfectly. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're back out in the garage for yet another project on the 2018 Ram. This time, LINKSWELL has sent us out a T-style factory replacement radio with a huge 10.4-inch screen, tablet-style screen for the truck. So we're going to get the stock radio out of this vehicle, put this new one in. It's loaded with features. It's got Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, all kinds of apps and everything. Sirius XM radio ready, and so I'll show you the package. We'll get it all out the box and take a look at it. But yeah, huge shout out and thank you to LINKSWELL for sending this out for us to test and install and see what we think about it. Show you guys another video and see if you might want to pick one of these up. I'll leave all the links to all the stuff down below so you can check it out if you want to. And pick one up. But if you want to follow along with more stuff like this we're working on the channel, my truck's in the background back there. We're working on all sorts of audio upgrades on it, working on my son's truck and other stuff, travel videos. Please think about subscribing. We do all kinds of stuff on the channel you might find interesting and want to follow along with, and leave us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments about this particular radio replacement or anything, leave them down below. I try to answer everybody's comments for you guys. And but yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into it, show you what we got in the package, and then go ahead and get started on the install. So here's a quick overview of the box and what we got in the mail. So this is for a 2014 to 18 Dodge Ram. So ours is a 2018 Ram's Tradesman that came with the stock kind of base model radio in it. We'll show you that in the videos here in a second when we take it out. This is their Generation 5S model, 10.4 Android radio. So here on the side, you can see what it looks like right here. Here on the side, we have all sorts of features you can check out. So it's got onboard memory that you can store things on the radio. It's running Android 9. It's got built-in DSP, so you can really kind of customize this to your sound quality and taste and everything. Like I said, this one comes with Sirius XM radio capability, or is ready. So you do have to purchase an add-on module to be able to get that, the antenna. So I don't believe it's compatible with your stock antenna if you've already got one. We'll take a look at that closer. HDMI outputs, if you've got an aftermarket stereo setup with some amps and speakers and stuff, it has 3 5-volt RCA pre-outs, so that's really nice. Of course, your regular radio, USB playback, there's your Android phone link and Apple stuff, Bluetooth, all that good stuff. So yeah, and you can even hook your camera inputs and stuff into it. It's factory matched harness, so it's compatible with all your steering wheel controls and all of that type stuff if you have that in your vehicle already. So that'll be really good. Now, one thing to consider is because this is a bigger unit and it takes up so much more space, you will lose your factory AC controls because of the way this is set up. So if that's a concern for you, you may want to go a different route. But if you don't care about that, then no big deal. But here's what we got in the box. Of course, here's our new head unit. It's a monster. It's actually pretty heavy and beefy, so looks like a really nice unit. It's all packaged and protected really well in their shipping. And there's your Sirius XM ready sticker right on the front, and all of our connections and everything on the back. So shouldn't be too terrible to hook up. Now, one thing to keep in mind too is they don't include any instructions in the box. So you know, to cut down on waste and paper and whatnot, you can go to their link, and they have the instructions and everything in PDF form right there on the website. So not a huge deal, but just keep that in mind. To get started, you may have to pull up their website or something. We've got a little cleaning cloth in the box. We've got our speaker and inputs here. We've got our master wiring harnesses, looks like, for our RCA outputs and cameras and everything here. And we'll get all of these out, separate them, take a closer look when we get ready to install it. And then there's our main vehicle plug there. and all of our other inputs. So we got to make sure we figure out where all this stuff goes. And but yeah, looks like a pretty good kit. We're going to go ahead and get busy taking the factory radio out and get this thing put in. Here's everything laid out on the workbench. Of course, we've got our massive head unit over here still wrapped up and protected. We've got our main wiring harness with all of our audio connections, some trigger wires for cameras and whatnot, and that have to be plugged in. We've got our phone link USB adapter, GPS antenna. I think this is just a regular radio antenna adapter. We've got, let's see, what is this? This is the auto air conditioner converter cable. We've got digital outputs for amps and stuff, speakers, and we've got other camera triggers, DVR cameras for this. We've got regular USB adapters here, all kinds of audio inputs and outputs. Here's our set of, let's see, here's all of our set for our 5-volt preamp outputs and subwoofers, microphones. There's our other camera inputs and video inputs here as well, Wi-Fi antenna and speaker input, microphone input. So they've got everything labeled really well. So now we've just got to get this head unit installed and then start wiring everything up. So here's a look at our 2018 Ram Tradesman stock radio in this. So again, this is not the Uconnect style radio that comes in some of these trucks. This is the base model radio, and one of the main reasons why we wanted to upgrade this in the beginning anyway. So it does have the manual AC controls. So with this new T-style radio that we're installing today, that will do away with these controls because the new system will take up this entire area, and this will convert these manual controls to digital controls on the screen. So keep that in mind if you're going this route. You will lose these controls. So if that's not a big thing, or you prefer the electronic style and the upgraded radio and everything, then fine, you're good to go. So, but here's a look at what we've got to do. It's pretty straightforward and easy. We've had this out for another project here recently. I'll leave a link down below if you're interested in checking those out. But it's just mainly 2 screws in the top here underneath this cover, and then this entire thing just pops straight out. You just pull on it straight forward and it pops out, and then we should be good to go to get the new radio installed. But there's a look at what we're dealing with from the start. So here's a look now that we have this front console cover removed, the radio bezel and everything. It's pretty easy to get loose. It sounds a little scary when it's snapping loose or popping loose. So you can see you've got these clips on the side where these plastic retainer clips go in and hold it. So you just have to pull straight out, and then you can pull these out at the bottom once you get the top to let loose. And then it's just a matter of 4 screws or 4 bolts, one on each side of the radio, to get this factory radio out, to access the wiring behind it, and then we can start working on the new setup. So one thing to keep in mind is here is the plug for the AC controls on the back of this original factory bezel. So all of that will have to be replaced, and we'll see how that goes once we get this other piece apart and in. But there is our wiring for our AC controls and everything that we'll have to hook up to the new radio. So we've got the radio unbolted. It's 4 7mm bolts, and then now you can see from the back side here your different wiring harnesses that we'll have to pull and plug into the new adapters, the antenna, satellite radio, all that. And so yeah, all we got to do is get these wires loose and then start working on the rest of the changeover. So not too much to get this factory radio out. We've got a couple of plugs, just 4 in this instance, our USB main harness and our radio AM FM antenna and satellite radio antenna. And then there's a look at the back of this, just a few connectors, and it popped right out. So now we can focus on getting the rest of the controls loose. We'll have to take this heating and air module off and this center bezel trim off to get this new one all installed. But yeah, moving along pretty good so far. So here's the air conditioner control module removed. It's just 4 Phillips head screws that pop right out, so no problems there. And then we're going to have to take this trim piece off. So it's got more Phillips head screws around it. Of course, we'll lose our AC module on it. We'll just need to unplug this and plug it into the wire and adapter on the new radio, and then this whole thing will come out and we'll replace it with the new one. I think we'll have to transfer these little orange clips over to the new one as well to go back in here on the radio. So yeah, making good progress. So here's our factory trim piece removed. You can see the air conditioner controls down here, so that's going to go away with this new setup. It was just a handful of Phillips screws and it popped right out. So now we can pop the new one in and get started wiring everything back up. Okay, here's where we are so far in our installation process. So we've got the new unit pushed in and everything screwed down. So we had to take the existing AC control module out, unplug it. It's just 4 screws on the side like I was showing earlier, Phillips head screws, and then you unplug it. There's our plug right there. We don't have enough slack just yet to plug it into the new head unit right here. So as we tilt this thing up, we'll be able to plug some of these other things in. We've got our GPS antenna installed. We've got our radio antenna installed. We've got our USB and phone link. So if you've got a USB adapter in the console like we do in this vehicle, you can hook that up and it goes back into this USB plug and splits off for your wired Android Auto and CarPlay. Then we've got our input harness here for our rear camera trigger. So we're going to install that and hook that up. We've got our Wi-Fi adapter antenna hooked in, our main power here as well. And there's our main harness with our CAN bus adapter kit. And so we've got to hook that up. And then lastly, we've got our radio antenna down here in the bottom. We need a little extra slack for it as well. Where did it go? There we are. So we've got it, and it's not quite long enough to get there. So as we tilt this up, we'll plug in these last few things, and then we'll be ready to start testing this out. So one thing I wanted to mention is we put it up there to test it to make sure we had everything wired up, and we didn't have any sound out of it, which was 100% my fault. There is a Dodge Ram output speaker connection or wiring connection here that comes out of this main plug out of the head unit, and you have to pick whether you want Dodge Ram high output, well, it'd be nice if I'd focus, high output, or low audio, low or high audio. And so what that means is the high audio is for systems like the Alpine amplified systems or whatever, and then the low is like the standard non-amplified system. So once we came back and hooked that up, the audio came right on and it's working fine. So now it is a little bit of a challenge to figure out how to snake all of these in here with this head unit being bigger and the AC control wiring and everything coming out of here, because this plastic bar is right in the way of where all of these wires have to go and situate. So you have to kind of get everything snaked in there just right so this thing will snap back into place where it's supposed to be. But we're going to try to get that done now and then see what it looks like. Alright guys, we've got everything installed and working perfectly. Wasn't much of a problem. There was a few little questions about some wiring and which way to plug what based on the audio that you have in the stock vehicle, but once we got that solved and out of the way, everything's working perfectly. We've got our main boot up screen. If you saw in the clip before, you can customize the backgrounds on the boot screen and everything on this. I'll show you how you can go in the settings in just a second, and you can customize basically everything on here. It is Android operating system, so you have a lot of control over all that stuff. And so on the home screen, as we have it configured now, you've got your navigation that you can go to, your date and time. Your music is set up down here at the bottom. This one, of course, again, deletes the factory AC controls, and it's all now electronic or digitized on the screen. So if we click climate, now you have all of your stuff. Of course, the vehicle's off right now, so so it's not running, but you can change all of your AC controls, heaters, everything, your fan speeds, what mode it's in. It'll automatically go off for you so it's not in the way of your main screen. Or you can hit the button over here and it'll drop back down. So everything's right at your fingertips now on the screen. And then you can adjust that. You've got your phone link here for your Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, so you can do either one, wireless or wired. We have ours configured for wired right now, just because of the way we've got our stuff set up for charging and everything else in this particular vehicle. But you can do both. You've got your music, your Bluetooth, calling, hands-free, everything, microphone, your radio, video, navigation, all that good stuff. And you can scroll over. You've got your web browsers in here. This radio is Sirius XM radio ready, so satellite radio. So you can purchase the add-on module and also have satellite radio in here as well. Your settings, apps, EQ, so you can adjust everything, file manager. So you can upload your own files to this. It has internal storage, so if you want to set your own, startup wallpapers, your own MP3 music files, whatever you want to do, you can trigger your cameras here. And then you have tons of other custom app slots that you can adjust on here. Whoops, I jumped right into it. And let's go back to home because I didn't mean to click on that. And then so you can come in here and set all of your different customizations for what apps you want on here. And then there's your AC controls again, and you can jump right back to where you started. But yeah, so if we, let's see, if we jump into music, you can customize the theme of this with many preloaded themes on here, but it'll jump in here. We've got it paused right now, but you can swipe up on here and you can see all of your Android apps on the screen. So you can adjust the clock, your contacts, all your different stuff in here, your HD video players, just tons of features on here. And you can set any of these down here at the bottom if you want to, but we can go right into music player. And it's going to jump right into playing some YouTube copyright cleared music for us. And we could jump back in there a little bit, but you can adjust all of this as well too. So let me turn it down just a little bit. So you can adjust your DSP settings in here. Whoops, if I could click on it correctly. There we go. So it's got all these different predefined ones, and you can customize them yourself however you want to in here. But very, very slick and easy to use. And then you can just pause it again and you can jump back into whatever you need to. So if we jump over to the radio, it's going to automatically go to the settings and stations and everything, AM, FM, stereo, everything, all your stuff is on here, different sources and whatnot. And so you can also go back to the previous screen if you wanted to, or jump back to the radio, and everything's pretty easy to deal with. And you can jump to different frequencies and set all your favorite ones on there if you want to. And then hit your home button again, and you're right back to where you started off. So real easy to do. You can adjust the brightness, what modes you've got it in, your EQs, all that stuff up here. You can click on the different, let's see. Yeah, there you go. So you can click on, just like on a phone or whatever, and you can close these out and go back and swipe these and clean everything up. Really easy for you if you want to kind of keep everything running nice and neat. And then, like I said, you can come over here to the settings and you can set up your phone, all of your date and time, general, language, power, all that good stuff here. And then you've got your audio settings, so you can adjust all of your main volumes and whatnot. You've got your video settings, so you can use all of those different camera inputs and HDMI inputs that come in the kit to set up your own stuff. Your user settings in here, so here's where you can set your themes, your home page background, source, boot logo, boot animation, so you can really kind of customize this thing to do exactly what you want to. And then of course all your system settings with your GPS, network, wireless, all that different stuff is in here as well. And so, I mean, anything you could possibly want, and then we'll hit home and you're right back to where you started again. So we'll hook up Android Auto real quick just so you can get a quick peek of that. But yeah, it's working perfectly. Sounds great. It's got plenty of volume. It's got all the preamp outputs. If you have an aftermarket stereo system with amps and speakers and everything, you can run that off of here with no problem as well. So yeah, super top notch. AC controls are working just fine. No problems there at all. It's a little weird now being without those manual knobs and adjustments. So if that's not your thing, you know, if you really want to have those AC controls, this might not be the perfect setup for you. But if you don't mind everything being digital and on the screen and all of that for you, oh, that was the wrong button. Let's get out of that and go back to climate. There we go. Yeah, so super easy to use, and it's all right there, but if you're not a fan of it being on the screen and controlled by the radio, might not be the perfect setup. But if you don't care about that, you want the larger screen with all this square footage on it, and really look like a new upgraded vehicle with all these features, you know, this would be perfect for you. All right, so here we are again. We've got our phone plugged up to the Android Auto Apple CarPlay USB input for the radio itself. Again, you can do it wirelessly, but we just chose to do it wired for simplicity's sake for our setup and what we're using it for. But you can click on the phone link, and it's going to jump right over there to it. And then, of course, you can hit on the apps and everything, and now you've got all of your phone apps and everything right off your phone and how it works. I'm going to blur out the map just for location privacy and information for where we are, but otherwise, all of your stuff is right there, and your Google Music and everything is on there as well. You can play it, and of course, all your phone settings and phone calls, hand-free, and everything works flawlessly right through the system. So pretty nice setup and easy to use. And guys, with that, we're done with another install. It went really smoothly. I was happy with the way everything was labeled and the kit and all the stuff in it. There was a few little small questions that once we really studied it were pretty evident. You do have to go online and either scan the QR code that they include in the box with the parts and everything to get to the PDF instructions. There is a PDF on the radio itself, but you'd have to have the radio installed to be able to get to it. So anyway, went to their website. It's all laid out really clear and easy to get to. We took a look at a few little things to kind of help get everything in order, and then it went right in, no problem whatsoever, and all the options are working perfectly. So you've got just about everything you could possibly need. The switch over from the controls, the AC controls, is really slick too, how it all works on the screen, and it's all digital right there at your fingertips now. So again, if that's your thing, this is a perfect option for you to swap it out, have a really nice big screen in your vehicle, like an upgraded brand new vehicle almost. And so you saw what we started with, the little small base model radio, and then now this thing is like a huge upgrade. So a huge thank you to LINKSWELL for sending this out for us to test and install. If you're in the market for an Apple CarPlay radio or Android Auto, wired or wireless, this might be right up your alley. So I'll leave all the links to everything down below for you to check out if you want to see if they have one available for your make or model. They have quite a few of them, so I'm sure they have something. And yeah, appreciate you being here. We've got several more audio upgrades in line for the vehicles on the channel. So if you want to consider subscribing and following along, I'd appreciate it hugely. And if you enjoyed the video, leave it a thumbs up. If you've got any questions about this radio or anything else we're doing on the channel, leave them down below. I try to answer all your questions if I possibly can. So I appreciate you hanging out with us, checking out another video on the channel, and stay tuned for the next one. Hope you have a fantastic day. Bye.